Welcome to this lesson on figurative language. This lesson will recover different types of figurative language that you'll find in books, movies, music, all that kind of stuff. Today specifically, we'll be looking at metonymy, synecdoche, and apostrophe. Please remember that you do need to take notes, and these notes will be checked at the beginning of your next class. These are the Arizona State Standards that we will be touching upon in this lesson. These are our targets for this lesson. First, we can identify figurative language in a text. And second, we can compose a poem based on the words or phrases used in a text. This is also known as a found poem. Please take a moment and pause this video so you can write these targets down in our goals sheet. This will also be checked when you come to class in your next class. Alright, let's start. The first figure of language we're going to recover today is metonymy. Now, we've learned about metonymy before, but let me just remind you, metonymy is a figure of speech in which a thing or concept is called not by its own name, but rather by the name of something associated in meaning with it. So, for example, instead of saying that the president made an announcement today, you could say the Oval Office made the announcement today. People still understand that when you say Oval Office, you mean the president, because he is associated with the Oval Office. Another example is the pen is mightier than the sword. They don't mean a physical pen is actually going to beat a physical sword. Instead, they mean that the ability to write is often greater than the ability to actually physically fight. So in this case, writing is associated with the pen, whereas physical fighting is associated with the sword. So now take a moment and try and come up with an example of metonymy on your own. What is something that you could replace with a similar word or an associated word that isn't exactly the same? Now, synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part is used to represent the whole. So for an example, I've got 4 mouths to feed. Now, when somebody says this, they don't literally mean they only have 4 mouths to feed. Instead, the part, the mouth, is being used to represent the whole, the human. Another example would be, check out my new wheels. Now, when somebody says this, they haven't literally just bought new wheels. I mean, it's possible that they have, but often this is used to express buying a new car, in which case the new wheels is the part that represents the whole, the new car. Again, go ahead and pause this video and try and come up with a synecdoche of your own. See what you can come up with. Finally, we get to the apostrophe. Now, often we think of an apostrophe as the little squiggly line we put with the S at the end of words. But an apostrophe can also mean a figure of speech in which an absent or non-existent person or thing is addressed as if it were present. So here's an example. Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. So this is a really famous scene from the play Macbeth, written by William Shakespeare. And so what's happening here is Macbeth is staring at this dagger that's supposedly dangling right in front of him. However, when he tries to grab it, it's not actually there. So this is an example of apostrophe because he's addressing a dagger that isn't actually there. Another example would be, O eloquent, just, and mighty death. In this case, the author is addressing death, almost personifying it. So he's addressing something that isn't actually there, because death, obviously, as personification, can't actually be there as a human. So go ahead and take a moment, try and come up with an example yourself, pause the video, let's see what you can come up with. Alright, we've come to the end of this lesson, so go ahead and take your time and look back over the video, finish taking your notes. You will need to know all 3 of these terms for the activity in our next class. I also suggest looking over the following terms: metaphor, symbol, hyperbole, litotes, personification, irony and sarcasm, idiom, simile, alliteration, and onomatopoeia. You will need to know all of these at the beginning of next class. So it's a bit of a review game that we're going to play. So it'll really help you if you have recovered and looked over those terms before coming to class. All right, thanks.